Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belladonna Budgets, and if you've recently subscribed, thank you very much for your support. I very much appreciate it. This channel is about documenting my debt-free journey as well as my progress in budgeting and cash management. I am going to try and keep this short and do my best to do this in one shot, as I tend to go off in tangents. So this video is going to be all about my debt confession as well as showing you guys the real numbers. So before we start though, I want to say thank you to the budgeting community because you guys have been so motivating and inspirational to me. Since the pandemic hit, there were a lot of uncertainties and insecurities, and I am able to keep my job and stay employed to this day. So that's something that I'm truly, truly grateful for. I'm truly grateful to the budgeting community because it has been very beneficial to me. You guys putting out your videos and also yourselves to an extent has been very interesting, inspiring, and I just love listening to y'all. And it's even more enjoyable for me to watch your sinking funds grow and see all your designs for your envelopes. I consider myself to be very artistic. Well, I'm not professionally artistic, but I lean on the artistic side. In this video, I will be showing you the real numbers of my debt, as well as expand on factors that drove me not only to become in debt, but to stay in debt for many, many years. I also apologize for the glare. I'm gonna try and save up for a ring light as well as a stable desk, just so I don't have to use this table and this gooseneck. So that's one goal that I want to work towards. Just a little bit about myself. Before I became intentional about wanting to be financially healthy and have financial freedom, I have been very lackadaisical about my own finances, and I had a very bad attitude towards money in general. Even though I keep telling myself, oh, this is going to be the day that I'm going to get out of debt, and you need to get your life sorted out, girl. I've always been stuck between having these dreams and these goals, but not taking action. Just because I think there's a lot of perfectionism going on in there, and at the time, I hated to admit it because to me, when I think of perfectionism, I think of everything has to be a certain result. Whereas with me, I'm more of a huge dreamer. Like, for example, I keep telling myself, oh, today you're going to get this grand project started, or you're going to do something good today. But then, to my own detriment, I never really get around to it. And I'm just very sick and tired of living that way. Also, the biggest factor that drives me to be this way has been depression due to issues in my childhood and my life that I have been dealing with for years, which pretty much sapped my motivation. However, I'm not going to be discussing those in detail or specifically talk about those in this video, but perhaps in the future when I'm comfortable talking about those things, I will certainly expand on those topics once I'm able to clearly articulate what's going on. So yeah, There was a point in time where I was debt free. That's because I have been introduced to Susie Orman and Gail Vass Oxlade. So if you're not familiar with who Gail Vass Oxlade and Susie Orman are, Gail Vass Oxlade is a Canadian financial expert, and Susie Orman is a financial expert from the States. And I love those two ladies. Both Geminis, by the way. Great storytellers, great with words, very engaging, but lay on some hard truths with a lot of love. Tough love, mind you. With Gail Vaz Oxlade, I started watching her reality TV shows like Princess, Money Moron, and Till Death Do Us Part. And she guides couples and individuals through their bad financial habits, their debt, and she helps put them back on the right track financially in order to pay off their debt and learn the skills to be financially literate. So watching shows like that has been very inspiring and motivating, and it got to the point where I did pay off my credit card debt. I only had one at the time, but for some reason I lost motivation and got back into debt and stayed in debt for a few years. There was a point in 2014 where, I was getting up there in years, and by the way, I'm not going to tell you how old I am yet. I was having a crisis where I was in a toxic workplace, and I was questioning where I was heading in life. So I didn't think about the financial situation then, but I certainly wanted to make something out of myself as opposed to having things decided for me and being just a passive player in my own life. I decided to just take control of my own life, and with the help of good friends, I decided to go back to school. And this was an accredited online school that's based in Nova Scotia. So that enables me to study here in my city while still working two part-time jobs. And the universe has granted my request, in that I was able to take my practicums in the city. So once I graduated and got a good job, I still worked those two part-time jobs for a little bit before I dropped them and started working this new job. And it was a temp job at the time, but I was able to get another position to fill in the gap and make myself full-time a full-time worker, although they were two part-time temporary positions. And those jobs were extremely enjoyable, but my goal was to get into the job that I had studied for. So a little over a year later, in 2018, I was able to land a job in my field. So yay for me. I got great support from my colleagues as well as my supervisors, who gave me great references. So that pretty much touched me because they were so supportive and they were able to give me guidance whenever I need them. I'm currently still in this job, so I'm truly, truly grateful to stay employed and still earn some income for myself. I do have goals for my own personal self, in that I want to move out and get a car. And I think I've mentioned this a while ago, or I know I've mentioned this in my second video. I want to open an Etsy shop, and my goal is to do it within this month. So it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of, tightening of the belt while still taking my needs into consideration and paying off debt at the same time. But I'm gonna do it for you, for myself, and for you all, just so I can contribute to the inspiration and motivation to get the ball rolling for other people who are thinking of coming onto this journey. Now, I'm going to show you the real number of my debt. Okay, I'm just gonna put this aside. As you can see here, I have a consumer debt of $18,588.48, and that includes my Visa, which is pretty much maxed out at $5,000. My MasterCard, which is also pretty much maxed out at $12,295.93, and the limit is $12,300. The iPhone that I'm using to film this video, I currently owe $1,292.55. I also have what I call personal debt, where I have saved up money, but then I took them out for either things that I need it for or for unnecessary things. So I'm going to consider this a serious debt as well, just because I need to pay myself back. The total personal debt is $8,670, and breaking it down, I owe $70 to my gratitude account, $350 to my emergency fund, and $8,250 for my TFSA. So with the emergency fund, I am very excited to share that as of May 13th, I reached my 1K milestone, so yay! And also to top that, January 13th, I paid off all of my student loan, which is $19,000 and I think a couple $100. I don't remember the exact figure, but it's in that neighborhood. So that I'm extremely happy with. And 2 weeks after that, when I got paid again, I got rid of my overdraft. So I started to get the ball rolling for me. And there was a point where I nearly paid this off in March. But because that was also the same time where I seriously started considering opening an Etsy shop and just buying supplies, I had chosen to put myself back into debt. So it is currently sitting at the maxed amount. And same with the MasterCard. I did put large chunks of money towards that credit card in order to pay it off faster, but then for the same reason. Do I regret putting myself in debt for my Etsy shop? My answer is no, because I am seeing it through the lens of this is an investment for myself and my future. And my goal is whatever sale I make from that, a large portion of it is going to go towards debt. The iPhone, I could easily pay this off with my current income level. However, because I'm not being charged interest on this, what I have been doing is with my monthly payments, which includes my monthly financing of the phone and my plan. For every first paycheck, I put $60, and then the second paycheck, I pay off the balance. So I'm slowly paying this off. But my main focus now is going to be the Visa first and then the MasterCard. Now I'm currently paying minimum payment plus a little more, but I want to obviously be able to put more money when I can. So yes, the grand total is $27,258.48. Now I just want to confess something. And this is gonna be an example of my bad habit. So I got paid on June the 2nd, and I put $350 towards the Visa card, and this is the Visa. But since then, I have been hiding purchases that I haven't budgeted for because I'm realizing now that my budgeting is unrealistic. So just to walk you through some of the examples, I had the subscription, which I thankfully was able to get a refund for because I told the representative that I don't use this. So he was kind enough to do the refund for me, even though it was a few days later. Same with this. I had to buy a new laminator plus colored ink for my colored printer. And I was able to get a refund back for the laminator because I didn't. It turned out that the laminating sheets that I got were cloudy, and I had to test it through 3 laminators in order to confirm that. So this I was able to get back. Now I did buy lotto tickets for gifts, as well as a goodbye gift for my neighbor. And if you see these highlighted in blue, they're all coffee purchases during the weekend. And just because I was feeling generous, I decided to pay for somebody's coffee through the drive-through as a random act of kindness, because that has happened to me. So if you've had a situation where somebody paid for your coffee when you're going to the drive-through, please comment down below and tell me how it made you feel. And just I'd love to hear your stories. So these highlighted in yellow are Amazon expenses. And then this Cricut one was a subscription, so that's a business expense. Now going down to June 10th, I have subscriptions, and in June 11th, I had a subscription for the Shoe Dazzle, which I canceled because I kept missing that time period every month where I can skip the month and not have my card charged. But I sometimes I can be absent-minded, and my card ended up getting charged because of that. And I have a Cricut subscription again. Actually, you know what? This is a Cricut purchase, not a subscription, because I used a pick that I had to pay for. And this is the subscription. On the 12th, I spent money on a scratch ticket, and again on McDonald's for coffee and some fries. June 13th, I bought supplies for my Etsy, and then I made a personal purchase. So all in all, this is what it ended up breaking down to. Personal, I ended up spending $23.93. Business, I ended up spending $82.13. Coffee, I ended up spending $14.54. Lotto, personal lotto, I ended up spending $20. Subscriptions ended up being $70.49. Gifts, I spent $58.67. Giving $3.19, and cat fluff, which is, where is it? Oh yeah, I meant to mention that I have a cat fluff purchase for almost $20. So within that 2-week period between me getting paid and making this payment until the day I got paid, 2 weeks later, I ended up blowing through $292.85, which, yeah, some of those are for business and necessary stuff, but it's just really bad money management on my part. And this is something that I want to work on. So overall, what this 2-week period picture tells me is that I was spending money on coffee, which I did create a sinking fund for. And it tells me that I need to start having a buffer account for business expenses, just so if I need to use my credit card, I can just pay it back from the buffer account. I need to buff up my gift or giving sinking fund. And I certainly need to start, giving myself more, because what had happened was I was only giving myself $5 every 2 weeks to spend. And I am the type of person where I get so focused on a goal, and it would work for some time, where I would just be single-minded and just obsessive. And then I end up burning out and being like, what's the point in doing this? I really need to treat myself. So that is also why in the last video, I decided to have a splurge envelope, just so I can start putting money in it to treat myself after I save up a certain amount, as well as having money for personal spending to spend on things like snacks, chocolate, and just fun stuff for me. But learning to be reasonable with that and keeping my priorities in mind. So what I've learned from this experience is that I cannot be too imbalanced in my approach. And I've also learned to be realistic with the amount that I'm putting towards debt, as well as the amounts that I'm allocating towards certain sinking funds. Again, this is going to be a channel where I track my progress with regards to how I manage money, and you're going to see a lot of changes, because I know that I will make a lot of mistakes. But my mindset now is, I have this huge problem. How am I going to tackle it? And this is gonna be how I'm going to tackle it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna try a different way. And mind you, there are gonna be times where I will get really discouraged to the point where I feel like, there's no point in doing this. But that is where I lean on you guys for all that love and support and encouragement, because community is very, very important. Now, for someone who's very fiercely independent, I also accept that we need people in our lives who can lift us up whenever we're down, just so I can develop those skills to be able to give back. And that is something that I want for myself, to be able to give back to others as well. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to me ramble on. If you have any advice or tips to give, or if you have if you want to share your debt-free stories and the struggles that you've had to go through and how you overcame them, please feel free to add them in the comments, and I will certainly draw from those. So yeah, thank you for listening to me and being my sounding board for this video, and stay safe, guys.